So this is called, this training is how to find more direct clients than you can poke a stick at. That's just a snappy bit of copy that I put in there. Okay, I can use my marker. And these are the pain points that I'm trying to solve. I'm trying to solve these pain points with my offers. And the pain points are, and I felt these as well a few years ago, burnout, feeling obliged to say yes to every job, or working weekends or any free time that you want to protect. It's just annoying when clients go after time you don't want to sell. So those are the pain points I'm trying to fix. Just give me some activity in the chat. I mean, hopefully all of you are looking for more direct clients. Just confirm. It was actually to check the chat is working, but we've been using the chat already. So just give me a bit of activity in the chat. I mean, direct client marketing is one of the problems. It's one of the big problems in our industry, I think. I did a survey before Christmas, and I was told by 3 in 4 members, and about 100 people answered my survey. If you did my survey, just say me or something in the chat, or just say something. If you did my survey, I was sending this out, I think, before Christmas, maybe a month before Christmas. And the big topics were direct client marketing, 3 and 4, and the other topics, the other buckets, if you like, which the terminology we use to segment audiences. The other buckets were email, list building, and copywriting. So those are my top three buckets. And marketing is basically a tension between a supply and a demand system. So if these guys are supply and these guys are demand, you should be creating in the center, you should be creating tension in your sales cycle. Otherwise, you will have difficulty selling. If you're not creating tension, creating demand, you will have difficulty selling. So that's what I recommend you do. Too many people I see are concentrating on supply side economics and supply side of the equation. That's okay, being a good translator, language skills, all the things, the rest of it. But you do have to create demand. You do have to generate demand for your offers, whether it's a service offer, whether it's a product. You know, I sell both. You have to create demand. So if I put this to you another way, there's the supply demand curve. So on the left, you have very high demand, very low supply. So prices go up. On the right, you have high supply, low demand. So the opposite, prices go down. So the left would be, for example, a busy ice cream truck in a packed park in blazing hot sun. A boy who goes up asking for 2 flakes instead of 1, he's going to be disappointed because the guy will just say, well, look, we're sold out today. Come back next time. On the other hand, if it's the middle of the winter, there's no demand, there's high supply, low. So that's fairly low price. So that's fairly obvious. That bit in the middle, the equilibrium, that is where business deals are struck and money is made. So that is the profit generator occurs in the equilibrium. So I can't indicate with my laser, but you can see that in the middle of the graph. So that's fairly self-explanatory. So you have to create demand. How do you do this? One way is to use this very nifty piece of software that I use for my market research, and you can do the same. I set up my quiz before December. I called it, "Is your freelance translation business ready to scale?" And I just asked a few questions, and I got about 100 leads. Below that graph is a list of 100 emails. I can't show the emails because of confidentiality, but I got a very high number of visits. And rather than a lead magnet, this should be thought of as market research. And I like to see people really asking the right questions. So instead of asking questions like, do I publish my prices on the website or not? I recommend you don't. Ask yourself questions, what kind of things, what kind of attraction marketing do I put on the website? And the answer is a quiz, or perhaps a waiting list, or a lead magnet. And we work with people, working out what is the valuable content that will be good. So if we have time, I'll happily take you into ScoreApp and give you a behind the scenes. I've got a couple of other screenshots. But this is just a very interesting survey. I started off asking people, do you have a website? Yes or no. Very easy, non-committal, yes, no question. That's called a grease the wheels question in terminology, in market speak. And we follow the teachings of an entrepreneur called Ryan Levesque. And Ryan Levesque wrote a book called Ask, A-S-K, and he has a company called the Ask Method. So if you just type in Ryan Ask, you can find all his things, and he's applied quiz marketing to all kinds of all kinds of markets. He's a great guy, and as you can see, I got phenomenal responses. As I say, about 100 emails below that that graph. The next thing I recommend you do is something that Elon Musk does. This is a picture of a Tesla truck. When Elon, I don't know Elon, but I see how he operates, and it's pretty slick the way he's operating. He doesn't launch the Tesla truck. He launches a wait list for the Tesla truck. So he generates demand, he generates buzz around the product before he's even launched it. And then he goes to his angel investors with the list saying, well, look, I've got 25,000 people on this list. Will you finance whatever he needs, $250,000, $500,000, whatever it costs him to build this vehicle? And he's generating buzz. So if I were to launch a book, for example, I haven't yet, but it's something on my mind. I wouldn't launch the book. I would launch a wait list for the book, and I would collect signals from the market. I would go to the market and I'd say, could you signal your interest in this product, and would you be interested in buying this on a future date? And I would just keep those emails in my pocket, and there I have created a bit of demand so that when the time comes, when he launches the truck, or if you're launching a book or another product, you have a warm list of leads. If you take anything away from today's seminar, this is your training, I hope you get amazing value. Please let it be everything stems from lead generation. The problem with direct client marketing is that people are not generating enough leads. If you're not generating leads, you will find it very difficult to sell. So try and keep distractions to an end. I was on a call a couple of weeks ago, and a cat just launched itself into the call. It was quite funny. This is interactive, so please use the chat. Please grab my attention. If you want to answer a question, ask a question, please raise your hand and we will unmute you, and that's absolutely fine. I want this to be as interactive as possible, and I want you to go away with as much value as possible. I'm going to cover quite a few new concepts. You're going to learn a lot. There is a Q&A at the end. I have nothing scheduled at 5. It's just gone 10:04, so I'm happy to stay on for another 20, 30 minutes if you want to get through all the questions. There will be an offer at the end. I'll make an offer. Whether you take me up on that offer or not, I hope you get amazing value from this content. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you spending this hour with me, and I hope I can convey some good teaching to you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the 3 main obstacles holding back. I mentioned lead generation. Keep that in mind, because we will come back to lead generation. I will give you some solutions, or I will suggest, my solutions and my curriculum, the things I think we should be working on, the things I've been working on and kind of solved for myself in the last 18 months, 2 years. I've been thinking about these topics. And I will share some key skills I've mastered myself so that you move forward faster. One of those is generating leads. And I'm now generating leads on a daily basis, both service provision leads and productized service leads. I've got a hybrid system now where I'm doing half and half and flitting between 2 activities. Please stay to the end. If you do, I will happily give you a nice worksheet, very nicely done worksheet, which is a valuable piece of IP from our premium course, which you're getting a glimpse of today. You're getting an open window into that. If you've already got this, just send me your email. I will send you another worksheet. I'll find something to move you forward and get you moving on some of these topics. All right, so this training is for you if you want more freedom. I feel, the last time I worked for somebody was 19. I'm 48. I went self-employed when I was 30, so I've been self-employed for 18 years. I feel a lot of freedom in my career. So I think it's for you to get that freedom without those pain points, and that is feeling burnout, saying yes to every single job, or feeling obliged to say yes, 8-hour days, or giving away your free time. Those are the pain points I'm trying to solve with my teachings, my resources, my materials, my course, etc. You're in the right place if you're an aspiring or a current freelance translator, interpreter, or copywriter. So hopefully you are an online LSP, one of those three tribes, and hopefully you're open to mentorship. You're keeping an open mind. You're happy to invest time and money in yourself when necessary, and you're happy to upskill your mindset. And it is flicking a switch and just thinking about things a little bit differently. And I've done that in the last couple of years, and it's had remarkable effects on my setup, and I'll show you, behind the scenes of that today, and your skill set. You're in the right place if you felt burnout. If you are feeling you're putting in a lot of hours and work, the fees are not quite what they should be, you're in the right place. And if you just find it challenging finding direct clients, I find it challenging finding direct clients. It is difficult. Sales is difficult, and I've I think considerably risen or raised my online presence myself over the last excuse me, over the last 2 years. So this is something I find difficult. I'm quite sure you find it difficult as well. If you feel pressure to say yes to every single job, I actively encourage my people not to say yes to every job. I think it's very important knowing when to say no. And I said no to something just the other day because I had other things on, and it wasn't the ideal job for me. It wasn't medicine. It was actually legal. It was very technical legal, and I just passed it on to somebody I know would do a better job. So I have an abundance mindset. I think there is enough work for everyone. I help people become a market of one. I believe I'm in a market of one in the things I'm talking about today. And I just feel that there is not much competition. And I think I can help others to feel as if they're in a market of one as well. Or you're just wanting to try a different approach to work. You're just open-minded to, try something different, experiment. And that's, you don't have to be a certain age to experiment. I think you can experiment at any time of life, young or old. I'm the age I am, and I'm doing some interesting things, and not feeling the judgment of others, I think, is also another important thing. Getting to a certain point where, I can just find my voice, say what I want to say, and not feel self-conscious about doing that. So hopefully that makes sense. Maybe you want to diversify your client service offering. Maybe you're a legal translator and you want to do, just make this up, SEO keyword research. Maybe you want to do some copy editing or some copywriting. Maybe you just want to expand your existing client base, enhance your client retention, and adapt to the changing trends. Yes, AI is important, but it's not the be all and end all. And I think we need, the obvious solution to AI is leaning into our communities, relationship building, and really ramping up the personal branding and what makes Jason Willis Lee, and what makes all of you unique. And the more you do that, the more you lean into your personal brand rather than a business brand, the better outcomes I think you'll have. So that's kind of what I'm about. So let's begin. So imagine I said to you, to all of you, what if in 1 to 2 months you could easily generate 100 new direct client leads? So it's not a big figure. It's 100 leads, 1 month or 2 months max. How would you go about this? How would you approach this this challenge? How would you, is your business able to assume new clients? If I sent you 10 new clients tomorrow, would your business be able to cope? Would your diary be able to cope? So how would you go about this? So I'd like to introduce you to an avatar. I've created an avatar as just a gaming term used to group sort of people into a tribe, I suppose. I could say, Tammy Translator or anything. I've called her Stuck Sally. And Stuck Sally is stuck on her marketing. She's doing the same old client prospecting strategy. She's doing a lot of CPD, doesn't really share it with anyone. She's paying €1,000 a month, €1,000 a year to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, all to no avail. And she gets her certifications and CPD courses, but she's not really sure how to monetize, how to translate this into hard cash in the bank. So that's Stuck Sally. Now consider Lead Gen Lucy. Lead Generation Lucy, totally different ballpark, different kettle of fish. Lucy's creating an evergreen email content marketing strategy, actively compounds and generates more leads over time. She reverse engineers her revenue goal. Maybe she wants 10K more on the gross revenue, and she just works back. What are the 3 to 5 chess moves that will take her there? And she creates a very intentional plan exactly how to hit this without sacrificing that personal time, without selling her, her weekend, selling her soul, etc., etc. The pain points we've talked about. And she follows a replicable system to increase the number of premium market jobs and a tried and tested process to generate warm leads. When I talk about leads, I'd like you to think about your current pool of clients as a sea or a lake or some kind of body of water. And then if there's a waterfall or a river, tributary, those are the leads. So we need to replenish that water constantly with a waterfall or a river. Those are the leads. We can't just, can't just leave the body of water to stagnate. Otherwise, there's no replenishment, there's no regeneration, and it's constantly, it is constantly looking for new work, which is tough. What we want to do is generate customer loyalty, customer lifetime value, CLV. It's an important metric, and we want to get a sort of turnover of new business coming in. So option A, stuck Sally. She's overwhelmed. She's panic prospecting. No real strategy for lead generation or monetization. And there's lead gen Lucy, and she's on the ball. She's making sales. She's doing email content marketing, strategic email content marketing to a targeted audience. She knows exactly who she's talking to. She knows exactly what the pain points are, and she knows exactly what to say. She has 3 content pillars, and she just rotates. You remember in a factory, there's a sort of machine that just slots down, and there's something rotating. That's how I like to think of a content bank. So my content pillars would be value-based pricing, email marketing, direct line marketing through email marketing. If you followed me for any length of time, you will know how to do that. I see a hand raised. It's Julia. Can we unmute Julia, Abel, or Heidi? Is it possible to get a question in? Maybe I can do it. Where are you? Just let me find you, Julia Marconi. Okay, so if I say allowed to talk, go. Julia, what's your question? Can you unmute? Julia? Okay, we'll come back.
Tiene el micro apagado, dicho.
Yeah. Julia, can you unmute your microphone? Or do I need to do that myself? Let me. Okay, let's come back at the end, but there was a question there. Okay, let's moving on. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jason Willisley. I'm a medical translator by training, but these days I'm also doing a productized service offer. So I have a translator to translator offer, and I'm helping stuck Sallys turn into lead gen Lucys. And I do this by beefing up your online presence. We make that much more, you're much more visible. If you don't have a website, we will get you a website. If you do have a website, we will think about an SEO strategy and a lead magnet. We will do some attraction marketing to bring prospects to you. And then I'm heavily into email content marketing, and have a list, and I market to that list. And that is something that is a huge business asset that I encourage you to develop sooner rather than later. So that is my business card that I still use when I do client-side events. I hand out that card, and I'm very much in the direct client marketing game. I spend about 3 to 4 hours a day on my client provision business every day, and I spend about the same amount of time on my productized service. So at the moment, I'm doing a hybrid business model, and that card was done, I think, for my last website 2015, I think. So that's maybe 9 years I've been using that card. And these days I've managed to implement quite a successful email content marketing strategy in my own business. So, and I run different lists, sometimes in Spanish, sometimes in English. I built up a few thousand followers across LinkedIn, mainly LinkedIn, also Instagram and Facebook. I host a niche podcast. My podcast is called How to Find More Direct Clients Than You Can Poke a Stick At. We have nearly 3,000 downloads, and I just launched a YouTube channel last week. This is called Freelance Translator Growth Mindset. Please subscribe. It will be free content, at least until 1,000 subscribers. We've just started, so there's barely a dozen subscribers, I think, or even less. Please subscribe, and there are videos to help you on the topics that I'm talking about today. But it wasn't as easy as it seems today. It was a long, hard climb. I went all in 2005, so 19 years ago, I think, in May. I went in full-time self-employed. I did optimize my lead generation, what I'm teaching now, but it was a long, hard road. There were problems. I was spending a lot of time prospecting for clients. I wasn't having a great amount of return on my time and investment. That was really my full-time job. I felt that sales, it was a very, it would cause me anxiety. And I was spending just too long trying to line up sales calls. And in the end, you end up settling for the lower end business just to get the work and income, pay the bills. And I felt I wasn't really making an effort to move up the pole, higher up the market. And I was doing a lot of things, but I wasn't really sure I was working on the activities that actually moved the needle. So actually make more sales, make more revenue, get to a better, better situation, what everyone obviously wants. So I was just slaving away, trying to generate leads, and there wasn't much correlation between how much I was working and how much I made. So these were the years where I was very much at the bottom end. So this would be, good 10, 15 years ago. And I felt a lot of burnout. I was giving away, was spilling into the weekends, and I didn't want to sell my free time. I wanted to spend that with my loved ones, have a personal life. And I was getting a bit sick of this. So when my people come to me for help, asking me, saying that those are the pain points, I can really relate to that. And I was getting quite sick of that. Can you relate to those things? I mean, have you felt any of those things? Let me just put the chat over here. Julia says, sorry, I don't want to raise my hand. That's okay. Laura, yes. Ivana, yes. Lots of yeses. Emmanuel, Tanya, Angela, yes, unfortunately. Sure. Kerry, Virginia, Tanya. Okay, lots of yeses there. So that seems to be Cecilia. Colleen, haven't had a free weekend in years. Oof, that sounds rough. Raluca, yes. Okay, so this is a common problem. So I think the problems that I was feeling, maybe 5-10 years ago is common. So I started wondering, how do I stay competitive and relevant without burning out, without working on the weekends that Colleen was mentioning, and saying yes to every single job? And these days I actually recommend the opposite, say no sometimes. How can I win those higher paying, the better quality clients that isn't dependent on working free time that I don't want to sell? I don't want to sell in my downtime. I want to sell the work time. Doesn't require burning out to make a living and just staying stuck at this terrible place on the price ladder, which is high volume, low unit price. How can I do it a different way? And I really, really thought about this. And I realized that the standard freelance pathway, at least for beginners to mid-careerists, which I obviously was once as well, was broken. And I thought that the strategies I was using were just too reliant on this high volume, low unit price, bottom feeder model, and not focused enough on the things we should be doing, which is lead generation, strategies to generate leads and monetize and turn that into hard cash in the bank. So I started developing and refining my own unique system for lead generation and making sales. I gradually started to do that. And since then, I have onboarded lots of direct clients at premium rates. So right at the top end of the spectrum, at least for the setting in which I live and work in Madrid. I think I raised my gross revenue 25% in just a year, directly from my targeted email content marketing. I remember investing in Active Campaign, and I sent one of my initial emails, and within days, I had a sale from a microbiologist in the Canary Islands, and I just saw an immediate ROI. So I thought, wow, this is amazing. So I put this methodology together. I've now had half a dozen people go through the pilot product. It's called a minimum viable product, an MVP. And what I'm talking about today is the version 2 of that product. So I've got the feedback. This is good. This is not so good. Reiterating. And products is all about reiterating. You go back to the lab, you tinker with some things. And I'm really interested in, I don't want to cause you more time or more work. I want to give you the resources and strategies. And I'm really turning into a bit of a strategy guy on this digital marketing journey that I'm on. And they started seeing some progress in their businesses too. This is not something that comes overnight. It's something that takes time. It is obviously work. And there is a feeling of overwhelm. I was feeling overwhelmed 18 months ago when I was building out all my assets, and I can talk about some of the assets I built out. So a couple of testimonials. This is anonymous. The business webinars like this are very important to people who struggle with the business end of translation during the course of my career. So those same people who are not thinking so much about the demand side that I mentioned at the beginning, they're too focused on the supply side. And Michael, I think, did one of my beginner courses. I think this was in the Chartered Institute of Linguists that had just bought out eCPD webinars from a nice lady called Lucy Brooks. I think that was that webinar there. So I'd obviously uncovered something for myself. I'd unlocked the secret to making sales from my content marketing. And now I do this, as part of my routine. And I'm doing this to my service provider audience. I go after Spanish doctors who are interested in getting research articles positioned before journals. And that's great work. It's very interesting work. It's very well paid. And I go after them regularly. And then I discovered, what if this process was replicable? What if I could pass this on to my community, the community I serve? It's obviously the tribe of translators, interpreters, and copywriters. So I discovered that this is James Bond giving us a discovery, a more robust online presence, so a new website or a revamp combined with an SEO strategy and targeted email strategy. If you do all of those things together, that's a secret weapon and much more powerful than any one of those things on its own. And there's James Bond. I just put in James Bond because I can. I like James Bond. So one is online presence, and that's really the easiest thing to fix, my friends. That is the easiest thing to fix if you're willing to make a minimal investment on that. And it doesn't have to be a lot. The SEO strategy, I see too many people doing new websites, but they're not forcing traffic and eyeballs to the websites, which I just don't understand. So I despair sometimes when I see that too much effort and money has gone into the design, but not enough effort on the strategy. I don't really care about the design. I care about how many people are looking at the service provider online. So that's a bit like wearing Harry Potter's invisible cloak, which is the point of this photo. That's a snapshot of I get a report. This is a 40-page report from a company called Metricool. And you can see on the top there, I'm getting about 400 hits. This is, I think, a monthly cycle. So that would be, whatever, 30, 40 visits a day, which is not too bad. And I can see exactly which pages are being hit, exactly where that traffic is coming from. And then the rest of the document tells me exactly which posts are doing well, which are not doing quite so well. And I can even keep an eye on competitors as well, if I want to keep an eye on the competition. So that's Metricool. I don't have any business relationship with Metricool. That's just the company whose report I received through my SEO specialist. So I intentionally force traffic to my website, and I'm doing this increasingly more intentionally. So those are my credentials for online traffic. That is a lead magnet. That is the homepage of my website, and that is it's not even actually my most highly converting lead magnet. The most highly converting magnet is direct client marketing, the one I offered as a gift if you stay to the end. This is an ideal customer avatar worksheet, important, but not as high converting. And I have another one on-page SEO, and I will be building one on storytelling techniques within a couple of weeks. So I have these buried on landing. This is the homepage, and I have the magnets buried on landing pages strategically within, so you can't see them on the tabs, but I direct people to a landing page. And there's no reason why any service provider can't do this. You just need to find the content that will most position you as the authority, as very authoritative in your niche. And every niche has a person who's whatever the niche is, legal translation, agri-food, literary, there will be some content that is valuable. So you need to decide what that is. And then, the conversation of the service provider type of question, well, do I put this or this? Do I publish my prices? Definitely not. If I publish my prices, some people might say Jason's too expensive. If I publish them, some people might say Jason's too cheap. Why would I put anything on my website that would repel people away? What I want to put is something that attracts people to me. So that is either a lead magnet, which you're looking at right now, or the quiz marketing, the quiz to qualify leads that I mentioned earlier on. So that's a lead magnet. And then finally, email marketing magic. It may look hard at first because you've just never really thought the processes of how to do this, how to build a list and how to market to it. But honestly, it isn't that difficult. If I can do it, certainly anyone can. I'm no smarter than anyone on this call. And it literally is a turbo boost for business growth. And I used to follow this series as a kid, Knight Rider, and I was just love this car, which he'd press a button, turbo boost, and it would just go up in the air. So that's making that point there. This is a snapshot about behind the scenes of my active campaign, the marketing I use for my email marketing. I think this is actually the list of registrants for this event. We had 150 registrants. I was shooting for about 200, but just fell short, but not bad, 150. And this is basically, I've chopped off the confidential data, but this is a contact database. So I have hundreds of emails in this contact database. You should be keeping, you shouldn't just have an Excel file or heaven forbid, paper and pencil. You should be creating an CSV file. CSV stands for comma separated value, importing that into ActiveCampaign or a similar program, and then just keeping all those fields nicely tidy. All I'm interested in is the forename, the surname, and the email. I don't usually collect phone numbers until somebody becomes a client. When the person becomes a client, I then need to have a closer relationship. We may change a call or a coaching call or something. So I need that. So when somebody signs up for my program, becomes a client, then I collect the phone number. So that's the first reason to use ActiveCampaign is contacts database. The second reason is running the emails. So I'm just hovering, putting the cursor over campaign template. This tab is for emails. So I'm running lots of different emails to hundreds of people. Depending on the audience, I have different lists. There's a Spanish list of clients. There's a Spanish list of prospects. I send slightly different content to the prospects than the clients. And then there's a thing here that says view report, and that will take me in. I'll show you later the metrics that we control, that we monitor on the email list. It's basically how many people open the email and how many people clicked through. So it's an open rate and a click-through rate, CTR. So that's email campaigns, and I just flick one to the next every week. This is not automated. I just build it over the week, and I go and decide what I want to talk about. My newsletter goes out on a Friday, and I think that went up to, 200 people on that list. And I just talk about, and I make it as value-packed as I can. So I make it very interactive. I try and tell a story. Storytelling is absolutely vital in personal branding. And we'll do some case studies a bit later on about storytelling. And finally, automation. I think I may have put this video on a post last week or the other day. So I have a subscriber form embedded in the website. So a Spanish doctor can come on, fill in my form, and that immediately triggers this automation tree. So there will be a couple of newsletters going out. So I'm just warming the lead. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm generating warmth. I'm just warming up that lead and just gradually drawing that person closer to me so that when I make an offer or when I ask them, hey, how about it? Would you like me to translate it? It just sort of follows naturally from what I've already done. So hopefully that makes sense. So automating some processes. I don't automate a huge amount, but I do have some basic automation skills. We automated a couple of things for this event. We had some reminder emails, and just to get you thinking about some things, automation, community, some topics that are important. So ActiveCampaign email marketing is for contact management, it's a contact database. It is for email campaigns, and it is for automation, which you're seeing there. These are a couple of lessons I teach within the premium course. Daily Lead Engine, I teach you types of social media posts. So I will teach you something called a hand raiser post, just like you're raising your hands now for questions. A hand raiser post is you go into your socials and you say, hey, I've just finished putting the finishing touches on my biomedical journal pre-submission checklist. Would you like to? This is a comprehensive worksheet with all the things you have to do before submitting an article to a researcher. Would you like to get your hands on it? Something like that. Some hands will go up, and then I don't hand them the resource. I hand them a link to either my Google Drive, which is the easiest way of getting rid of a magnet or handing out a magnet. And then they have to ask my permission. I restrict the access. They have to ask my permission to access the resource, and then I have their email. So that is a consented lead because they know their email is being sent out. And the other way of doing it more formally, which I use for my website magnets, is have that landing page. I just showed you the home page. There are other landing pages buried in, and the webmaster will do that fairly reasonably for you. And you need the resource, and then it has to be hooked up to the email list, so that contact immediately just goes on the list automatically. You don't have to insert the contact manually at all. A couple of other posts I teach client wins. It's very important to share your social proof. If you go to my website from 2015, may have a screenshot of that. Maybe not. That was, sorry, I've just jumped ahead. Let me just go back. I've jumped way ahead. Apologies. Okay, I think I've gone to the end of the, show how that happened. So where was I? I was talking about the email enticer and the client win. So it's very important to show your social proof, and the more you do that, so to share your client win. So an example of a client win would be, here we are. An example of a client win, I just had an email from my client, Jason. Jason has just successfully published an article on pediatric intensive care. I'm just making this up. Pediatric intensive care in the journal Resuscitation. If you would like a result similar to Jason, and then I insert a call to action, and that would just be linking to my email. Sometimes I might put my phone number. Most normally I would just link to my Jason Willis Lee website and have them email me. So that's a client win. Very important to get your client wins out there. And the other one is an email enticer, and you can use those posts interchangeably. You could use the client win as an email enticer and vice versa. So that's daily lead engine. So where I'm trying to take you is this idea of generating leads daily, weekly, monthly. If you're not getting leads, if you're not getting that water flowing into the body of water of your current clients, what are we doing? We're going to have problems finding direct clients, which everyone says they want. 3 in 4 people say they want. So that's the solution. It's boning up on your lead generation. Conquer your content. I give you all the content prompts. So that is a very, very valuable worksheet. So you just plug in the content related to your particular, so whether it's agro-food, which is one of Colleen Terry's fields, whether it's literary translation, whether it's legal, you just come along with your content, plug it into the prompts, and that's how you do the content marketing. So you're just following a template. So that's an extremely valuable content prompt sheet that I give you. So I'm sharing today, obviously, the framework that I've used for myself. It's a step-by-step how to find more direct clients, then you can poke a stick out framework. And this is basically what I've done for myself. So I'm basically, the student zero of my teachings is myself. So I basically try this on myself. When I do affiliate promotions, I made a rule right at the beginning because I could see there could be an ethical dilemma. I said to myself, I'm only going to promote tools that I use. So I promote ScoreApp because I use it and I stand by it. I promote ActiveCampaign because I use it and because it's given me results. And I'm showing you the results today that it's given me. So my strategy is, as I'm explaining, landing the clients faster. So ramping up the lead generation by either a new website or a revamped website, adding the SEO, so forcing traffic intentionally, adding the content marketing through email with a lead magnet, so that you build authority, influence, and trust right from the get-go, and you laser focus in on the lead gen. So all of this is designed to make you an authority in your particular field, be that legal translation, medical translation. Every niche has someone of influence who is a KPI. KPI also stands for key person of influence, not just key performance indicator. So it's really ramping up your lead gen. And I think it's finding ready to invest clients, because you get a lot of low quality traffic. A lot of people come looking. They're not really ready to put the time, and they haven't made this emotional commitment to put in the time and money behind something like this, which you have to do. And I did that 18 months, 2 years ago. I'm now much further on than I was back then. And the outcome should be a wildly aligned and strategic less is more client prospecting strategy and a much, much higher ROI that is not just reliant on this bottom feeder model for success. I actually think agencies are an endangered species. I think that's all that's left for agencies is post-editing, it's DeepL, it's Co-Translator AI. I actually think the agency model, I'm not an agency owner, I have obviously brokered a few translations here and there. I just think that model is gone. If it's not gone, it's going. So if you hopefully there aren't any agency owners, I might get shot. But I think we need to be thinking about the future, about future proofing and AI proofing, and lean into AI. And I've looked at DeepL, I've looked at Co-Translator AI. That will be I will certainly do some materials on that because they are part of our industry. I used to ignore this completely 5 or 10 years ago. Now I look at it and I think, wow, this is really very, very good. I did an obstetric text the other week just before Christmas, and really I found one mistake in this text, and it was that voix basse, and that means vaginal delivery, had been translated as bass voice, and the rest of the text was pretty okay for that one howling mistake, which is obviously grossly out of context, bass voice, vaginal delivery. And that's really, and I said to the client, I said, using AI is fine. And this was an MOQ, a MemoQ powered machine MT engine. And I said, this is pretty good, but the AI missed this mistake. And I made it very clear to him why a human translator is necessary. I'm sure you have similar stories. And that was just before Christmas. That was literally weeks ago. So that's the outcome. These days, I'm all about lifestyle business. I want you to, it's leveraged income. So it's a lot of work up front, but it's building the assets. And what essentially I help you do is build the assets. I built a website. You've seen the traffic I'm getting. I built a podcast. You've seen the downloads. I've just launched a YouTube channel. I have an email list. These are massive business assets by themselves. But when you get when you start directing the orchestra and the content, the cellos, the violins, the violas, the content starts speaking with just one voice, then it becomes very powerful. And then you can just repurpose one piece of content. And it may sound overwhelming at first. I certainly felt overwhelmed. He was crying in the corner about 18 months ago. But now I look back on that and I think, well, look how far I've come and look how far I still have to go. Obviously, there are lots of people ahead of me, clearly. So I think it's just finding someone 2 steps ahead who can show you the way, not so much ahead that it becomes unfeasible. So that is the visual framework. We're heavily into flywheels these days. There's all these flywheels, and that's not the best flywheel, but anyway, it tells you more or less how we do this. It's the website, it's the email marketing, and it's the SEO. So we do all those 3 things together. Not that's perfectly sufficient to make the point, which is that these things combined will be a killer, very, very transformational than if you do them separately. So that's the transformation. So I'm hoping to take you from here. I'll meet you where you are at. And then if you do these things, if you're willing to step up and do the work, and this is work, this is not work in one day or 1 week. It is, at least 12 weeks of commitment. But I think the outcome could be what people are asking for, which is better conditions, more direct clients. That's what everyone wants. They want a better life, obviously. So I think that this framework is the best way to land those higher paying, those sought after direct clients and avoid the 3 biggest mistakes that Stuck Sally makes when prospecting for new clients. And those mistakes are, number 1, the online visibility is a bit ropey. So it's, it's okay, but it could be better. So we sort that out with either a new website, if you don't have one. Remember, 3 and 5 don't have one. Didn't have one when I did my survey, or a revamp. We add in the SEO. There's no point doing a website without intentional traffic forcing to the asset, and we do a lead magnet. That is so much more powerful than simply just doing a nice designed website and leaving it and let it be. As I said, 3 and 5 people told me, I think probably in my sample of 100, there were probably more beginners. That's my only explanation for that slightly skewed data, because I tend to aim my productized service at mid-career. So people making 3K a month or just a bit less, 2.5, 3K. And these are probably beginners answering, but nevertheless, it was an interesting stat. And that's the kind of power, the data insights you can draw from the market using something like ScoreApp. And you can use this tool for barely 20 euros. I mean, I'm a monthly subscriber, but you can use it for 20 euros a month or two and get your data and not pay. It's not something you have to, it doesn't have to be a monthly recurring expense. The next mistake, and this is the big one, you know now that lead generation, everything comes downstream of lead generation. There's not enough lead gen going on. So, and people are saying, when I said, if I did a paid product, what would you invest in? And three and four people said direct line marketing. So I see a disconnect between what people say they want and what they're actually doing. There is a disconnect. There is a divorce between the data I get and what people are saying. So that this just seems to be a problem, and the solution has to be help people generate leads. And I've given you ways to do that. So the way to do that is to establish a consistent content marketing calendar. It is to set intentional goals, goal setting and objectives. Be very specific. I want to make 10K more gross revenue, and then just work backwards. What are the 3 to 5 chess moves, on the board that will get me to that goal, and commit to it. The only guaranteed way of failing, what is it? Is if you give up. If you don't give up and you're constantly chipping away, it may feel overwhelming. You may be thinking, oh my gosh, I can't sleep. This is really tough. Anything worth having in life is tough. That's at least my experience. Anything worth having, warrants some effort and some time and some money behind it. And the third mistake is this resistance to building an email list. When I talk about this sort of informally or socially, a lot of eyes glaze over, get a couple of rolled eyes. But this is actually the crux of the matter. My biggest regret in business, and I think I've come out, I'll be 14, I'll be 50 next year, 49 coming up, so I'm still 48. My biggest regret is not starting that list back in 2005. Imagine the kind of list I'd had now. Had I, was email marketing even a thing? It was certainly around, and it's certainly not going anywhere. It is the best way. It is the most highly converting form of marketing that we have. It is ethical. You're not spamming anyone. You're getting the person's permission. My personal yardstick is, would my subscriber miss me if I'm not in their inbox? That's my personal yardstick. And it's okay if people leave the list. That's fine. You don't want anyone on the list who doesn't want to be there. Those are the emails. So, I have some very snappy copy. I will hopefully build this product out more with copywriting. I think copywriting, not for this edition, but certainly a future edition. I think copywriting is a very, very valuable skill. And I've always enjoyed writing in English and marketing copy and telling stories. And I have a mentor who tells a story. It's very, very clever how he tells a story, and you're drawn into the story. And yeah, I want to know how that finishes. Or a video with an amazing hook. You just have to click on it. How does this end? That's the power of storytelling. That's one of the worksheets that we give away. So this is zooming in on the view report part of the campaign. So if you see on the left, it says view report. When I click on view report, I'm effectively checking open rate, and I'm checking click-through rate. A good open rate is 20%. I'm getting nearly 50. I'm getting nearly half the list. Yes, it's a small list, and that figure will go down, but it's a very, very good open rate. And I'm getting a 3% click-through rate. So I'm putting some interesting clicks, and then somebody does unsubscribe. That's one person unsubscribed or 2 people, and that's okay. It's okay for people to leave the list. It's actually, not only is it okay, it's a legal obligation to have an unsubscribed. Otherwise, you'll get the GDPR police, hammering on your door, and there'll be big trouble. Data privacy is much more of an issue in Europe than it is in the US. I mean, correct. That seems to be my impression. It seems to be a little more lax in the US. Maybe an American friend can confirm that, Chris or somebody else. Okay, so resistance to the list. What's the solution? The solution is leaning into email list building and email marketing as a key business skill, as it has been for me. Look at the results I've had from very little time marketing to a list, less than 2 years. So let's unpack these mistakes more deeper. Unless there is a question, does anyone want to? Have we worked out how to unmute the? Let's just have a look at the chat. Kerry says, depends on the agency. The days of large agencies are probably over. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Colleen, I've been doing quite a bit of research with AI, ChatGPT. Yep, Copilot, DeepL. Still early days, but there are lots of utilities. Yeah, huge benefit, time saver. Yeah, anything that saves time and money is to be lent into, as far as I'm concerned. When I invest in things, I want to save time. Let's have a look at the questions. Ivana, great. Let's have a look. So you have different mailing lists and you send out different emails, newsletters to different groups. Yeah, so I have a service provision list, which is my group of Spanish biomedical researcher clients, and I have a list of prospects, and I send slightly different content to the prospects than the clients. The clients have already bought from me. So anyone who buys from me goes on a client list, but effectively, and then I have my productized service list, which is you guys. If any of you are on my list, great. You will be, you would receive a weekly newsletter packed with as much value that I take a whole week to curate. And every day I go in and tweak something and make it better. I'm very lucky in that I have a graphic designer daughter. So she did me a graphic of my podcast, and she put literally a graphic design of my photo. And it's just something fun and creative that we can do together that raises the value of my assets. And that's an asset. I have my Canva is just full of, all of this is done in Canva. Ivana again, what type of content do you send to prospective translation clients when it comes to email marketing? Can you give examples? So there I would be, if I do it on a social, I would be doing a hand raiser. I would be saying, do you want this, which is a lead magnet, but it's, and I would just probably, the easiest way to send somebody a free resource, something that you've spent time on to make yourself look authoritative and trustworthy is a Google Drive. And you just link it to your Google Drive. Very simple. You restrict the access, you send the link. Would you like it? And that's what you send out. The more formal way is having the landing page. So anything, it depends on your audience, anything that is valuable, but my rule of thumb is something that you could easily sell for 100 euros is a lead magnet. Something you could easily sell for 100 euros, but you don't because you want to get the email in return. An email is valuable real estate. Being in someone's inbox is a privilege. Being opened and read is even more of a privilege. I don't take that for granted. So I think it depends on your audience and the kind, your niche as well. So, we could talk about your niche and, I could give you some ideas. Virginia says, hi, do you think copywriting has a future? I've seen lots on social media that AI is being used a lot more. Yeah, I think, Virginia, I think copywriting is probably something that is really under threat by AI. I mean, if online LSPs are under threat, I think copywriters even more under threat. That said, I think there is always, certainly in the entrepreneurial world and sales pages and the type of copy being written, I think there will always be work for good copywriters. Let me just put the chat over there. So yeah, great questions. Thank you. Keep them coming if you have more. So the 3 mistakes were the online presence, insufficient lead gen, and resistance to building a list. Let's unpack those in more detail. If my pointer is very temperamental. Okay. So common mistake number 1, insufficient online visibility. So this is what it looks like in practice. You're missing out on a lot of opportunities. People are just passing by unnoticed, or you're going unnoticed because people are just not finding you easily. If you're not easily discoverable, they'll just go to the person who is. They'll just go to the competitors with a good online presence. It's as simple as that. And a robust online presence also contributes significantly to your credibility. So I think you may have your trustworthiness, your legitimacy, and reliability questioned if they can't find the information easily. So the truth is, I think it is so much more difficult for Stuck Sally, our avatar, who's stuck on the marketing, to generate leads and get paid work coming in through the door. And the solution is a new or revamped website combined with the lead, not just on its own, combined with a powerful lead magnet embedded. You do that Google Drive or a landing page, and an SEO strategy solves this common mistake and gives you just a much more robust solution. So that's online presence. Of the 3 problems, that is probably the easiest and most cost-effective to solve. Some people say when I'm myth busting, I can't afford a new website, Jason. Well, as I said earlier, if anything, anything that's worth having in life will need some time, it will need some money. And I think in business, if you're not investing in yourself, and this is your career, so my career, I'm investing in something pretty important, something we do many hours a day. If you're not investing in yourself in your business, it's very difficult to get an ROI. That's my point. If you're not investing, you have to spend money to make money. So on a scale of 1 to 10, just give me a figure in the chat. Where are you on online visibility? Don't worry if it's a 1 or a 2. Don't worry if you haven't got a website. Give me a figure in the chat. Lucy says a 4. Mary Helen says a 2. Okay, no problem. Colleen 1 or a 2. 2, 5, 6. 1, 2 or 3 at best. 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's varying. Some of you are more pessimistic than others. Ask yourself, how would it feel to build a daily or weekly lead engine through more robust online presence, a lead magnet SEO, so intentional lead gen, and a targeted email marketing strategy? Just ask yourself that question. Common mistake number 2 was insufficient direct client lead gen. So that's how it looks like. There's very limited diversification. So remember the water analogy, the waterfall and the tributary of the river coming into the pool, the lake or sea, whatever it is. Over dependence on existing customers can limit your diversity. So it's good to diversify, not so much the service as your pool of clients, your client pool. Reduce sales, obviously, that goes without saying. Without a consistent lead gen, there are fewer prospects to engage with and convert into customers. That's the best thing of ScoreApp, is it's an engagement tool. And it allows you to engage with your target audience, work out, just feel them and get to know them and build up that know, like, and trust factor. If people don't know, like, and trust you in business, you haven't got a hope in hell of selling anything. If they don't know you, like you, and trust you, and that takes time, and a machine isn't going to be known, liked or trusted. It has to be a human. So I think that's what humans have going for them, is that you can build up trust with other humans. One of my mentors is very big on P2P. P2P is people to people. So you've heard of B2B, you've heard of B2C. B2B platforms, probably LinkedIn, lots of large companies on LinkedIn. B2C, I would say Instagram. I have direct messages on Instagram with consumers, possible prospects. But P2P, there's no substitute for P2P. And then my mentor talks about P2P plus, which is P2P on steroids. That's just P2P on corticosteroids. You sort of typical anti-inflammatory. So a third problem is stagnant growth. So without steady lead gen, a business will just struggle to expand its customer base and reach new markets. And the truth bomb is, and this is true, very much true, I'm my own testimonial here, successful lead gen is a one-way ticket to the higher end of the market. So if you want to go upwards, you have to be generating leads and creating that demand. Remember Elon and the Tesla truck. Use waiting lists, create demand, create buzz. Remember the curve I showed you. Remember the relationship between, don't always think about supply, think about demand. So implementing a consistent lead gen strategy is the best way to build out a sales funnel of warm direct client leads. So I'm effectively teaching you how to build out your assets, get a funnel going, and how to warm up your audience. I think I've been warming up an audience for the last 18 months. I've been thinking about these things and really drilling down on what needs to be done in the industry, just as a member of the industry, an interested member, who's more or less solved this. I did have a head start. I was working in medicine, and that is a big head start. If you're working in law, that is also a head start. But if you apply these strategies with a robust niche, you should be flying. You should not be struggling, scrabbling around to find work. So it's all about warming up your audience and implementing a well-crafted. How are we doing for time? Okay, we're up to the hour. Implementing a well-crafted strategy diversifies your client base. It avoids stagnant growth and skyrockets your sales opportunities. I honestly had never done content marketing until 18 months, 2 years ago. I mean, I'm not as seriously as I'm doing it now. And as the guide, I will, if you care to work together, if you take me up on the offer, I will guide you obviously every step of the way. I'm heavily invested in your success. You failing is not an option. This is Sophia. She was a beginner, but what was interesting is that she finally, as a beginner, which is tough starting out from recent graduation, she got the keys and she was lining up her first projects and clients. So that was, she was one of the foundation round intake students. And she was going into audiovisual translation. So that was a good result for her. So how stuck are you on direct client lead gen? Tell me about your own direct client lead gen. How stuck are you? And ask yourself again, just ask yourself interior voice, how would it feel to build a pipeline of warm leads through more robust online presence, lead magnets and SEO, and a targeted email marketing strategy? Okay, Laura and Kerry say 1, Adriana 1, -5, Emmanuel. Okay, Virginia 0, Alison, Ivana 1. Okay, so I mean, it sounds like this is, I may have nailed, made you really problem aware, because you're saying this is something you struggle with, and that's okay. And that's okay. Lead gen is not easy. And then very quickly, the common mistake number 3 is the list, resistance to building a list. The thing about list building, it's a direct communication channel. So unlike social media platforms, which are owned by Zuckerberg, by Musk, the same guy who launched the Tesla truck, this is your property. No one can take your email list away from you. So I encourage you not to build out a business, to build out assets on rented land. It has to be ownership and something controlled by you. And building a community, it's not just a tool for sales and marketing, it's a platform to build a community around your personal brand. We've decided that personal brand is the way to go, not so much a business brand. People tend to go for business brands because they feel it's less work and they have to show up less, and because there's a lucrative exit strategy. And I think that's terribly misguided. I think everyone now is going for personal brand. Personal brand is the way to go, I think. So without an email marketing strategy, and you may not have a good, I know I've spoken to colleagues who don't like newsletters, they don't like subscribing or reading, but you are missing out on an opportunity to engage with your audience. It is an engagement tool. It is a seamless thing. You're being read silently on a weekend or on an evening. It is a relationship builder, and it is a lead converting tool. And email, trust me on this, is the most effective channel for nurturing leads and driving sales. So if you don't do it, you are leaving money on the table, as far as I'm concerned. So the regular value bombs, the truth bombs and value bombs that you drop, and I spend a lot of time on my email newsletter, try and make it, when I see someone that unsubscribe, I think, wow, I spend so much time curating that email. So you want to get increased loyalty and reduce the CLV. Sorry, if you don't do it, people will forget about your brand. They will become less loyal and reduce your customer lifetime value. That's an important metric. So you're not getting as much lower repeat business and referrals. And it just has that direct communication channel. You can segment. My audience is direct client people, email marketing people, copywriting people. So those are my 3 buckets, what Ryan Levesque calls a bucket. And that's what email's for. There's a flywheel. That's a very nice flywheel. Heidi, I think you did that for us. Thank you. That was amazing. So I'm trying to get you to take the journey. The customer journey is they come into your brand as complete strangers. They then become prospects that you warm up. They then become customers. And then hopefully your raving fan customers will sing your brand more than, if I have a customer testimonial from someone who's happy with me and my results, they will become a much bigger promoter of my brand than I could possibly be. And those are my central core content pillars: value-based pricing, email marketing, direct clients, all centered around growth. So that's the customer journey that I encourage you to think about. Some people have said that this sounds too difficult, their eyes glaze over. Again, if I can do this, you certainly can. It is not difficult. It is learnable. You just need to flick a switch and change your mindset. That's Kevin, another one of our clients. He enjoyed the value-based pricing part of our materials. You changed my perspective on the value of translation. That's basically what it is. It's making the conversation more about the value and less about the price. You know what? There comes a point where price becomes trivial if you you know, these brands like Rolex, like Ferrari, which have incredibly high profit margins, the price can be trivial in the end. So I think he enjoyed that part of the course. So how stuck are you? I'm guessing this is going to be a low answer because not many of you will have a list. How stuck are you on building a list? Lucy says, have a sense of overwhelm with an email list, just need to overcome the fear. Yeah, fear. There was a GIF I saw this week where it's something like where you are now and there's fear, and then everything you could possibly want was just jumping over the fear, which was zero. Yeah, lots of zeros and ones. So yeah, email listing, you think it's just something that the entrepreneurs can do. It's not. Service providers can do. Colleen, 0 for the moment, waiting to, okay. But you're getting your website up and running, and when we do the opt-in, you will have, you will be able to get onto the list. Again, how would it feel to build a pipeline of warm leads through more robust online presence, targeted lead magnet, SEO, and email marketing strategy? Just ask yourself how that would feel, how that would change your life, how that would change your business. So you're probably thinking, wow, this is a lot of information. That's a lot to think about. So just a quick recap. We met Stuck Sally. Stuck Sally is a bit overwhelmed, panicking, no strategy. Having a strategy is important. Having a very, I go into work with a real idea of what I'm going to do each day. And I never used to do that. So now my diarization, I'm also busier. I'm running 2 activities. I've got calls. There's a lot of things to keep a track of. Insufficient online visibility, lead gen next to no or poor lead gen, and there's no email list building. So that's Stuck Sally. I think there is a few Stuck Sallys from the scores you've given me here. The best way to avoid the 3 mistakes that Stuck Sallys make when prospecting direct clients, we said, was solving the online visibility problem, the easiest problem to solve, new revamp website plus a lead magnet and SEO. An intentional direct client content marketing strategy. Once you know who you're talking to and what you're saying, the lead generation becomes a lot more easier. But you have to do the market research using tools like ScoreApp that I'm kind of putting on your plate for you, which is very, very powerful. And regular email value bonds leading to increased loyalty and CLV, customer lifetime value. So you're getting more repeat business. So that's basically the transformation. So those 3 things, you're going from there, hopefully, or meeting people where they are. My audience is not homogeneous. No 2 followers are the same. No 2 clients are the same. There is a pattern in terms of revenue. I've seen that, but the problems, a lot of it is mindset, and a lot of it is mental block. There's a lot of wasted energy. So I'm sure you have some more questions. What was your biggest aha moment today? Can you write down your biggest, where you thought, yeah, you really nailed it? What was your biggest aha moment? Can you put that in the chat? Say something that you really, Vanessa says, I have a list and some email templates, but don't send out regularly, consistently. Yeah, I mean, I would say if you have a list, I would say start monthly and then ramp it up. And I do mine weekly. It doesn't have to be weekly. You can do it bi-monthly. Roberta says, I have a list of companies I contact from time to time per email. Okay, per mail. Eileen, I really need to think about who my clients are, who needs me. Yeah, absolutely. So that's market research. You would be a good candidate for using ScoreApp. The idea, it's just a simple mindset change. How can I find these people who need my services? Yeah, you've got to, yeah, that's the game. You've got to go online, go on LinkedIn. You've got to do cold outreach. You've got to do warm outreach. You've got to post regular content. Those are the ways you find clients. There's only a 4th way, which is affiliation, and that's more for products. So I don't recommend affiliation so much for service providers. Focus on driving traffic to my website using SEO and a targeted email strategy. That's Megan. And Lucy says how the 3 aspects are interlinked. All too often I see these as separate marketing approaches. Interesting. Yeah. So I think if you have this as an orchestrated thing, Emmanuel hasn't identified my USP, her USP. Okay. So, these are all things to consider. So if you think I've made a good job of identifying the problem, can I ask permission to share my solution? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if that's okay. Just say, yeah, hell yeah, booyah. Great, lots of yeses. Tanya, great, thank you. Marie-Helen, Isabel, Megan, Sophia, Marie Kaiser, Virginia, Lucy, thank you. Okay, so let's go on to the offer. So this is the course I've been talking about. This is how to find more direct clients than you can poke a stick at. I think you can not just survive, I think you can thrive. You can thrive as a freelancer. There's no reason to be pinching pennies. I think we can, we must. So this is kind of a call to arms. I was thinking about a literary analogy, so it's kind of a call to arms. But there is the course. I have my course in Thinkific, which is a mid-class platform. It's like Teachable. It's not the most expensive, probably not the cheapest either. And that's where all the course materials are. So I have this automated online, and then I support it with one-to-one power hours, what I call office hours. It's a step-by-step training to just warm your leads, qualify your direct client prospects. So hopefully get involved with ScoreApp and start qualifying the leads, getting rid of the low quality traffic and concentrating on clients that will be interested in investing, and making sales directly from your content marketing. Posting regular content marketing is key. You need to know, have your content pillars defined, and all the way without, solving these pain points, the burnout, saying yes to everything, and working on the weekends. I think I'm a market of one because I don't see anyone talking about these things. No one is really drilling down on email content marketing. A couple of people have got courses and online offers, but nobody is really saying the kind of things that I'm saying. So I feel like I'm in a market of one, and I've done that for myself. So I can turn you into a market of one and make you the trusted authority in your niche, because this is not rocket science. It's just, setting some intentional goals and really drilling down on this. Included, you get the whole thing. You get the whole framework, the whole curriculum. Typically, my client is making 3K or 2.5K. That's a typical. But if you're not at that revenue level, that's okay. We would just need to, work on a bit of foundational work to get you moving to 6K. That's a big jump. I mean, that's an ambitious. But moving to 4, 5, 6K, those are the kind of things I'd like you to, consider what needs to be done to get you there, and be very intentional with your revenue goals. It's not so much important that the revenue goal as it is to show up consistently and do the work. That's much more important than saying I want to make, 1K more a month. This was Colleen. I think this was you. You gave me a very nice comment. Colleen's amazing. She doesn't really need much motivation. She has done a website called Concept Translation. I think there's a testimonial later. And it's just such an exemplary example, because she has weaved her name, Colleen Terry, CT, into Concept Translation and actually got the branding. I mean, nobody can take that away from you, Colleen. That is so much what I'm saying that people should do. And now it's a question of getting your personal stories. And you lived a couple of decades in California. It's a question of getting your personal stories into your personal branding and your blog posts, your revolving content or the LinkedIn, and getting that resonating with people and just positioning you as the go-to person in agri-food. Colleen is split testing agri-food and literary. So we could do a separate quiz for both of those sectors, and we could split test, and maybe one goes well, maybe one not so well, and that's okay because we're experimenting. So there's a pricing module. Obviously, pricing and negotiation is important, and I'll show you a testimonial from Colleen where we identified significant upside potential in Colleen's pricing system. That was last week. So value-based pricing, obviously, big thing. It's all about the value. It's all about making the conversation about the value, not so much about the price. It's that. It's keeping price out of it. It's keeping these price shoppers. How many of you have had price shoppers waste your time? I've had that time and time again. Those are the not ready to invest clients that I'm talking about. Those are the people I'd like to keep away from you and just filter, qualify the leads using the tools available to us. This is the big one, the lead generation module. You've learnt that lead generation is the name of the game, the water analogy, etc. And it's basically market research, as I've said, It's drilling down on your avatar. Who are we talking to? What are we going to say? And that is how you laser in on your ideal customers. And it's strategic networking to build out your circle of professional connections. Yes, we have the associations, but you can also, go into online groups. And we're working on giving you a community option here as well. And the list building translator, if you're open to email list building, you can, that is just more interaction and more engagement. When you do a nice newsletter and you see 50% of your list opening, consented subscriber, it's a nice feeling. A nice feeling. You feel that you feel valued, and it's fantastic for converting, because where do you go when you have an offer? Your promotion, you go to your list first. That is the biggest asset you have. So your brand becomes much more robust in the industry as you build out the list. As I say, my regret is not building out a list 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I have a bonus module. So once you get through all of that, and that's a lot, there's a bonus module. I talk about financial investing a little bit, and I talk about feel good productivity. So it's making work fun, making feel good, which could be just, putting on some John Williams, blasting away, or ET music, whatever it is that floats your boat, and making work feel less of a chore, less onerous. I hope that makes sense. So feel good productivity, that is part of it. So you get every single template, tool, script, worksheet, resource we use in our own business. So we've spent, a good 18 months, almost 2 years, putting this together. There is a testimonial from Tatiana, who did a mini course with me, Online Presence Blueprint. This is the storytelling worksheet. How you get the stories, your personal brand stories in. This is absolutely key. That kind of post resonates so much more than the academic sort of, degree, certificate under your arm type of thing, which shows intelligence. But this is emotionally connecting with people, and that's what we need to be doing as digital marketers, as ethical digital marketers. And that is number 4. So Tatiana is talking about this storytelling worksheet here. There's obviously lots more: business profile, increasing rates, on-page SEO, direct line marketing. We have lots of resources to save you time and save you money, hopefully. This is the community I'm building. This is the community. Hopefully you will come in, and it's a bit less Jason centric. I don't have to be in everything. It will be, you can learn a lot from each other as well. I'm in 3 entrepreneurial communities, and I go there first with a connection. I write the same question in 3 communities, and someone comes up with an answer. And I ask a lot of questions. The way to get ahead, I think, is to badger your mentors and not be afraid of answering questions. You can ask me as many questions as you want. I will never tire of answering questions, because I badger my mentors, and that's how I've got ahead. So if you just surround yourself with others on the same journey and ask questions, that's the way to do this. This is the big thing. This is the one thing I think makes me stand out, because I'm doing this as a one-to-one. This is not a group coaching program. This is one-to-one or personalized office hours. So you get one-to-one, you get my undivided attention to work on your business and your goals and do your content and everything you want to do. But I do expect you to do the online classes and then come, with some of the work done. The office hours are not a substitute for the online work. It is a supplement to it. This is Monica, and she thought the mentoring sessions were pretty cool. She said the best part, and she went away with the right strategies, she said, for finding direct clients. Very versatile translator, doing Greek, writing poetry, a lot of different, very talented ladies. So that was nice to work with her. This is Kelsey. Let me just put the testimonial on there so you can hear it. Oh, sorry, there's no audio coming through. Abel, ¿cómo puedo compartir el audio?
Tienes que compartir, en compartir pantalla te sale abajo un tics que pone compartir audio,
Vale.
pero no hacía falta que te salieses.
Um, Share screen. Vale. Y ahora share sound. Okay, got it. Share sound. Okay, let's try again. Good.
Preséntalo de nuevo.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Pettit and I'm a Spanish into English translator specializing in medicine education and ed tech. My experience and good name. So the most useful part of the program for me have been the one-on-one coaching calls. They gave me the confidence I needed to start posting on LinkedIn, to get on top of imposter syndrome, and really gave me the focus and drive that I needed to finally get my website, kelseypettit.com, into development. And that's almost ready to launch now. If you're an early career translator and you get on top of your marketing now, you're going to really put yourself miles ahead of the competition. And if, like me, you are more experienced in the language industry, then it's never too late to start marketing yourself properly. So I would really encourage you to consider whether making this kind of investment in your business might be a good move for you.
Okay, that was Kelsey, one of our current students, and she kind of hit a wall, I think, in terms of revenue and wasn't quite sure where to go, what the pathway was. So I'm really enjoying working with her and just motivating her to go further. I've seen a few questions. Alison says, do you write all your email marketing content yourself? Yes, I do, Alison. I don't have a copywriter formally on my team. I write it all myself. The marketing emails, the weekly newsletter is slightly different content to the client content. I try to put more stories into the newsletter, and I just try to make my points through storytelling. That's what I try to do there. Copywriting could be useful for your own website too. Yeah, Virginia, absolutely. You can write your own copy. You don't have to. I actually find it's good to get your own story in your own words, rather than I have used copywriter from my webmaster. That's the only time I have used a copywriter. Different strategies, excuse me, for your translation and copywriting businesses. You mean my productized service business? Well, it's a different audience. It's a different audience, different pain points. I think with the service, I'm just bridging the gap between a Spanish doctor trying to get their research article published ASAP. They all want to publish for free. So a lot of journals turn us down and say no, and I have to lead them to open access and different publication models. So a lot of my content is, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm a research article consultant. Look at this video on open access, and I make sure I position myself as an authority in front of that. Because I studied medicine for 3 or 4 years in the 90s, I find that audience quite easy to handle. Ivana says, is the content in the online presence blueprint different than the longer one? Yeah, it's a kind. So I use the online presence blueprint almost as a magnet to the other one. It's not. I'm going to do an event in Riga in February. I'm going to the Elia event, and I will take with me a version of the online presence blueprint. But rather than sort of drilling people on LinkedIn, I'm going to say, well, look, this is, I will just turn it more into a personal branding class than, so that's, yeah, it's like slightly different content and an abridged version. Obviously, I don't use exactly the same content in both courses. Colleen, this is you. This was our call last week, I think it was. And we really detected not a problem, just something Colleen can improve on, which is undercharging. So there's this lack of confidence in charging your full worth. And I'm going to say to you, I would say 50, possibly 100%. I mean, you could almost be doubling the rates we discussed. So that was a huge takeaway. And I think, I think that was the biggest, from my side. I think a lot of your revenue goal could be achieved by this raising your prices. Is it possible to unmute yourself and say, if anyone is on the fence, what would you say? Because you've kind of got really quite further on with the product. I'm clicking allow to talk. Can you? Sorry, I'm clicking somebody else. Oh, there you are. Can you unmute? Is that possible? Colleen?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for
Okay.
it.
Just super quick because I have another call in like 3 minutes.
Go for it. Go for it.
So yeah, just after our session the other day, I did find that basically because I hadn't been able to compare my pricing with anyone else's other than what agencies were paying.
Yep.
I was charging the few direct clients I have, I was charging basically way under what I can be
Yeah.
charging.
There you go.
So just talking to you about that really kicked in that idea that I can be doing the same exact work and making maybe not double, but certainly 30 to 40% more just for the same exact work.
What would you say to someone who's on the fence, who's not quite sure of some of the content we've talked about? What would you say to them? Because you're in the program at the moment.
About the course.
Yeah. What
Well,
would you say?
I've mentioned it in the chat, and that yes, I've been working on this course for a couple of months with you, and the biggest thing for me is that it's changed my mindset, because I've been translating for 25 years, doing a lot of agency work. I do have some direct clients, but it's getting through that mental block
Yeah.
of I have to learn so many new things. This is very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I need to get past those mental blocks. And that's something that you have really been helping me through, is to keep up the motivation, giving the new information in small bites that can be easily dealt with, and then not letting me slip through the cracks.
Well, I love working with you. Your progress has been amazing. I know it can feel overwhelming sometimes. So yeah, thank you so much for being here today, and looking forward to the next call. I'll let you get on to your other call.
Indeed. Thank you, Jason. Great lesson, and goodbye, everyone.
All the best, Colleen. So yeah, so that was Colleen, obviously coming along really well. I've known Colleen for about 10 years, actually. We used to sing together. We were in the same choir, so it was rather nice bumping into her again. So the kind of things you'll achieve, hopefully the knowledge, the mindset changes, the skills, the confidence to get those regular bookings coming in, not just survive, but thrive and build something sustainable. Obviously the value that has to come across. Weekly lead engine. So I hope I've changed your mindset or raised your awareness. The problem of lead generation or insufficient lead generation, that is key, has to be done every single day. And the confidence to consider or hopefully use email marketing as a really robust tool for engaging customers. Okay, so how much is this? Obviously there is a price on this. I'm going to start by saying when I initially priced this out, I came up with this figure because that is roughly what I thought everything I'm giving you is roughly around there, and that's the sort of hourly rate. But more than that, I would ask you to consider that just the list building translator module of this training can make your investment back. I'm expecting you to get an ROI from this investment. Don't think of this as an expense. Think of it as an investment. When I invest, I want to see an ROI. And that's just one piece of the offer. So I'm giving you on a platter the step-by-step roadmap to upskill all the things we've talked about: online presence, the value, doing the lead magnets, doing the SEO, doing the lead generation, doing the email, all these things, which each and every topic is a world of its own. What will it cost you not to sign up? How many new clients would it take for you to make your investment back? And how much time and money, and those are the big savers, will you save or win back or buy back by using our strategies? So how much is it? That's not the price. I made it cheaper, and I made it that price. So that's my ask, 597. To make it sweeter for you, I put some bonuses in. These bonuses are time sensitive, so there is an urgency. And these bonuses disappear on Thursday, the 25th at midnight CET. So that would be 11 o'clock London time, Big Ben striking. And the biggest bonus I can give you is increased service, which is access to me. And this is to reward a fast action. I'll give you, instead of the 4 calls, I'll make it 5 calls. I don't give my one-to-one time away very easily. I guard it quite jealously. And that is something that is my undivided attention with you. This is not a group program. So you get that one-to-one with me. You also get an incredible bonus from our webmaster, Margaret, who's based in London. You get 6 months of the Websites for Translators Academy video courses. So there's a huge amount of value in those. She did say 6 months. I thought it was quite a lot, but she did say 6 months. So that's a bonus. You get this, the storytelling worksheet that Tatiana, I showed you the testimonial. That is a separate piece of IP that I valued at just under 200. So that gives you a lot of the ways, the prompts to get your storytelling into your personal branding, which connects and resonates with people. You get the student hub. So I'm building out a community offer for you to come in and network with other people. Obviously, I will be overseeing and hopefully get the help of an admin at some point. So that's the hub. You have lifetime access. This is not a time-sensitive product. You have lifetime access, periodic updates. I will update this when this launch period is over. I want to put copywriting in. I want to get a bit of other things in there, and you get discounts on future products. So once you're a client, obviously we are connected. And I have I stand by this product. I'm happy to give you a guarantee. I mean, if you show me you do the work, it's obviously a lot of work, and you have to, don't just come in and not do the work. I expect you to perform and set some goals and really move forwards on these things. But I'm happy to offer a guarantee if you show me you've done that and are not seeing a result. There should be a link in the chat. Hopefully, Heidi, Abel, could you possibly drop that link in the chat? That's the bonuses are available until Thursday. So you have, all right, there's the link. The bonuses go away on Thursday. So Thursday midnight. So I hope you will take me up on the bonuses, because that's the biggest bang for your buck. That's the retail price, and I'm selling it 50% less. It's a secure checkout. There will be a Stripe pathway. There's also a PayPal. So there are a couple of options. It is a one payment thing. There are no pay plans on this product. You get immediate access to Thinkific. That's where the course lives online. So if you do want to binge, you could come in straight away. There is no reason to binge watch and do everything all at once. I find this myself with online courses. It's nice to just take it easy. That's what it kind of looks like. You have the lessons set out for you. Some have video lessons, some have text content. There are downloads. All the resources are in there. So just to remind you, those are the choices. Stuck Sally is, staying on this no lead gen, weak online presence, no email marketing, unwilling to consider something that may seem outside of our comfort zone. And lead gen Lucy, she's winging it. She's following a step-by-step system, a strategy. She's putting out the plug and play, done for you content, got a nice community behind her, and it's just generating warm leads as soon as possible, depending what your niche and what your content pillars are. There's the fast action bonus. That's the juiciest bonus, is just access to me, because I probably a couple of steps ahead, and I've done a lot of these things myself, as you've seen. There's the link. And any more questions? I'm happy to answer more questions. Time and money. I mean, this is, I'd like you to put aside about 12 weeks. I'd like you to use up those 5 calls within 12 weeks, because that's the kind of period. It's less than 2 calls a month. So we'll be seeing each other probably fortnightly, roughly fortnightly. I am working with someone weekly, and that will come up to a renewal probably sooner than we thought, because she's doing a lot of research. She's making amazing progress. She's actually in Brisbane, so I get up very early for that call. It's 8 o'clock for me, 5 o'clock for her. And it's just possible to do this with all the other commitments. I get it. There's lots of things in life. There are kids, there are partners, there's your personal life. And yeah, the time and money investments, this is your career. I've certainly invested in my career in the last 18 months, quite a large amount, and I've seen the benefits of that. Hopefully you've seen the benefits of my own coaching, and I've been working with mentors. I have 3 different mentors in different communities and memberships I'm in. And it is spending time and money to save time and money. That's how to save time and make money. That's how I see this. Is it the same as all the others? I don't think it is. I think it is a market of one, teaching the type of curriculum I've selected, I don't see anywhere else on the market. So I think I'm beavering away in my castle, as I talked about on my newsletter a couple of weeks ago. Moat, water, crocodiles, competitors kept away. When you have, competition is not a bad thing. When you set up a business, I would be very, very wary of setting up a business with no competitors. So I would think, where's the market? I would want competitors. And as I say, I have an abundance market mindset. I think I've made myself a market of one in the last 2 years. I can do the same for you. I have absolutely no doubt about that. If we intentionally design your content pillars and get down to brass tacks and do the work, roll up our sleeves together and do the work. And certainly I don't see anyone formally teaching email marketing. So just be aware of you've got a couple of days until Thursday to think about it. It's enough time to make a decision on something that could help you. And that is, the curriculum we've talked about today, the pricing, the negotiating, the website wiring, the SEO, the lead magnet, the list building, all of that is included. And hopefully I will move you forward. Any other questions? I've gone way over the time I meant to go. I'm getting excited about a lot of things. I'm going to the chat, the Q&A. Can I see any new questions? I can't see any new questions in the Q&A. I think I answered that live. Are there any other questions about anything? Are there any questions? If you want to raise your hand, I will happily answer the questions for you. Any other questions? Birgit, thank you, Jason. Jacqueline, thank you for the webinar. Ivan, thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for attending. Thank you for being with me, Isabel. Thank you. I ask if the webinar is registered. Yes, Susanna, it is recorded. It is recorded, and there will be a recording up on the website by tomorrow in the business, I hope. So that will be up tomorrow. Susanna, thank you. If this webinar has been, recorded. Yeah, it has been recorded. Lots of thank yous. Okay, so if there are no, Diane, thank you. Nice to see you, Diane. Very interesting. Susanna, Marie, Kaiser, thanks for a great informative webinar. I saw something else from Colleen, echoing what? I can echo Kelsey's words from the video almost verbatim. I'm 25 years into my freelancing. And as I said above, Jason is helping me move from agencies to direct clients and feel confident about my abilities. Thank you, Jason, for this course. I'm off to another meeting. Yeah, it's just a pleasure working with Colleen, and to have someone take on your ideas and weave the personal branding into her website, the initials, it's fantastic. So I love working with her. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I'm going to, whoa, we've gone on for an hour 40. That's a long time. I'm going to close the webinar, and any other questions, you can contact me on my socials, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Oh, there is a question. Sorry, Marie Helen. Human translation is probably at its lowest point right now. I've lost my own direct clients generating 10K a year because they've been forced by their universities to find a cheaper option. You convinced me of the value of your approach, but not that I'll be able to find direct clients at the end of it. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair comment. I mean, I think the AI, for me, the response to AI is just leaning into communities and leaning into relationship building. So it's P2P, it's P2P plus. I mean, it seems you have to do a rethink of your business model. 10K a year. I mean, that I'm not sure if that's the whole of your gross revenue or a portion. Universities are looking for cheaper options. Does that mean AI or other things? So these are some ideas of things to attack. That's just direct clients. Okay, that's just direct clients. So I wish you the best of luck. I hope you can apply. I hope you can all apply some of the ideas in this webinar, some strategy. I hope you can plug and play. And I think I should probably bring the webinar to a close. And the recording will be up tomorrow on the website. So if that's Okay, I'm going to close the webinar. Thank you, everyone.